Yeah, payments 2.0 and revolutionizing the way we pay. So basically, overview to what payments has grown in India and how have we progressed so far, and what is it taking us to. First of all, this is my introduction. A very brief introduction. I'm a technical program manager at Razorpay, and I'm leading GDG and WTM Pune right now. I'm organizer and ambassador at WTM and GDC. I'm a UX researcher, and when I say technical program manager, it's technical program or product manager, wherein my role is more into UX and product, understanding the flow of payments and then implementing something. So that's where I come from. And then, of course, when I say I'm a product person, first I need to understand a why to go inside anything, right? So why do you listen to me? Why do you need to know payments is very important before you jump directly towards the how and what of it. Because when someone I mean if it's a hackathon or if it's a session, a normal tech session, why would you actually listen to payments? Even if you're, I mean, this is important to you, even if you are being a part of the hackathon, moving with a startup or not. uh, why of it is because I think payments is something each and every one of us has been with since our childhood. Payments, normal. What is payments for us? I think it's money transaction, it's buying something. When we grow, I think we get into some complex and deeper things which are not so easy to understand or not so familiar to us. And that is when we start losing interest in financial services. When you move, yeah, I mean, I feel when you move from payments to finance, that's the bridge that we need to cross. Because when you say financial services, everything is so boring. I think before me getting into payments, I I myself was very much bored with when you listen to financial services, be it investment, be it anything else. It was very boring to understand. But why you need to understand it? Because this is a ecosystem that will be connected to us from your birth to your death, because it involves money and something we cannot live without. And that's the how and what is something we'll see ahead when we progress into the slides. So yeah, let's try to jump in. The problem with monetary things as of now, or say as of 10 years back, was that we were involving a lot of cash that has to be carried. If you ask, okay, maybe not me, maybe not you, but when our parents were of our age, they used to carry loads of cash around. They used to carry cashes in trains and public places and buses. And I don't know, right now it's raining, so very relative example was, I remember my parents drying the notes around in rainy season. That was a really major issue, right? Like we used to take the money around, and then that was an issue. We cannot just carry a phone and move anywhere, which is something digital payments is trying to solve. Check bounces and signature issues, a lot of it. I'm really not sure if you guys have faced, but initially when I had to go to the bank to deposit the money, and fill up a form and then deposit money or take out money, at that time we used to have checks. We used to give checks to others. The signature issue was such a ridiculous thing. I remember going to the bank twice when my signature was not matched. I was frustrated with that thing. I mean, when you say digital signature, it's so good. And let me tell you here, when you say digital signature, there are a few points. Like I said, this is very important to us because signature issues were because my signature was not matching with my previous signature or my standard signature that's set with the bank. Today, these signatures are OTPs. So any OTP that you get, it's always told, right, that do not share your OTP with anyone, because that OTP is your signature. Because when you give OTP to the platform or to the person, that is when you sign for that thing to go ahead. So that's something it's solved, but at the same time, you have to be very cautious about it. And secured corruption was there, which is a bad part. With not a single transaction found. When it was a cash transaction, you never know who is given what money to which person. and you cannot have a transactional part involved as far as bank transfers are not done. That is the only thing. I just remove some cash and give it to someone, no one would ever understand. But when it's online, everything is recorded. And that is how overall India is trying to reduce corruption. And I think when we talk about fintech, if someone just want to tell what can be involved in fintech,
You mean the challenges or
anything that's involved in fintech, not just challenges. I mean, um, if you just want to guess something, maybe yeah, something like crypto or instant payments,
hmm,
maybe blockchain, very fancy terms that we use nowadays. I think teenagers especially are very interested in some such fancy terms, right? Crypto, blockchain. Then personal finance, again, something a little boring, but yeah, you need to understand a bit. Investments, UPI. So I think each and every person, even auto rickshaw drivers, I think are aware of UPI nowadays. So it's actually gone to the roots of India. I feel, yeah, there are shops now, even now in the rural areas, who do not accept UPI, but even then, I think around 70 to 75% people, or 70 to 75% transactions in India are happening via UPI or online transaction. I'd say not just UPI, and which is an amazing thing to know that, and especially this is very nice to know when you know this is not there in other countries. Like you would say this was very cliche, but if you ask me, this very great thing, because India has topped again, saying 89.5 billion transactions, the instant transactions. 46% of the global real-time payments are done by India, and real-time payment meaning UPI. So 46% of the total global transactions are done by India. And this is a recent report. This was recorded on 10th of June, and you can just scan this QR and see the tweet. This tweet is done by my Gov India, my Government India official website, and this is a great thing to know, because you know usually when we find something great, we are not actually involved in it. But when you say this 89.5 billion transactions, we each of us are involved. Our transactions are taken into account in this 89.5 number, and that is very great to know that even my mama is able to go and purchase something online, or pay electricity bill online, uh, sitting at home, which is some transaction, which is a transformation that we're trying to do in India. And this I consider a reason why I should learn this ecosystem, or I should be in this ecosystem, because you're already in this ecosystem. To learn something that you're already doing is amazing, right? I mean, to know, if I say 89.5 billion mein, we all of us are involved some other way in a small little transaction. At that time, you need to understand, if you're involved in such a big number, there can be frauds also here, and there can be good things also here. So knowing both of the things. And sometimes when you say offers, and sometimes when you say how should I pay, when you have an option of UPI cards, wallets, what should I exactly pay via, that time if you understand the back end of it, the back end processing of it, then you can take a call in a better way. That may even save your money a little, and yeah, for the way. So, and this is how we've grown so far. We've started our journey of not digital completely, but trying to avoid cash is something which was started in 1997 by India, with the help of Coca-Cola. And then we had been progressing some other way. I have heard my parents saying there used to be some dialer. If you dial that number, then it used to cut some. It was like a delivery system that we have. Like we order something on Zomato right now, but that time we didn't have apps, right? We didn't have smartphones. So a dialer, a number was there, like maybe type star hash something, and then you get this recharge done, or this transaction done, sort of that. That is somewhere we started on. Then Domino's Pizza was something. accepted payments via mobile devices in 2001, which is way back. And then mobile, yeah, Apple ecosystem started having Apple Pay around 2007, and then I think UPI created such a big such a big audience that now each and every one of us are able to understand this very easily. It's not even like a very complex system now. It's like a touch and then you pay. So this is something which has grown way too far than what we thought before, and I think it'll go way beyond. So UPI, to go in UPI, the reason is because UPI is instant payment, and that is which we already know. So covering a major part will actually give us a major understanding of what are we doing when we actually pay. So yeah, UPI is basically instant fund transfer. Pay details are not required. I mean, if you have just the UPI ID or something of the user, even then you can opt payment. Easy transactions for merchants at a merchant level. When you're trying to start up, when you're trying to start a business, at that time, be it like an online website or app, or be it a physical shop or something, it's a very easy way to transact with the customers for a merchant online, because you have track of each and everything there. So that's something which has grown. Without IFSC codes, you're able to transact, which was again something that you had to remember, and link multiple bank accounts. Because previously, I mean, I remember when I had to carry my passbook or my checkbook around, that was so difficult. So I used to have only single bank account. But right now, it's usually recommended to have multiple bank accounts. Why? Because one account should be when you start to earn, right? Especially when you start to earn, or maybe as a student, when you get pocket money, try to have two bank accounts. One is where all of your money comes, and one is where you spend. So here you don't actually miss on the debit and credit. What happens is, the account that you use for credit, all of the transactions you do daily, maybe when you use UPI or wallet, I think our daily transactions are really small, like 50, 100, 150 rupees, which is very ridiculous to track. I mean, you can't really get all these transactions on a passbook. Bank people will start I don't know, shouting. I have experienced this. When I went with my mama to get the passbook updated, they were like, "We are not doing for this," because I had very small little transactions. So that time you can maintain two accounts, so that your incoming from your parents or as a salary will be in one. Then whatever you need, say for 15 days or for 1 month, you transfer that to another account, and then use that account for your small little transactions, daily routine transactions. And all of this is possible with UPI wallet, all of this. And how to go ahead with it is something we'll see when we understand what happens when we pay. So these are the payment ecosystem owners, sort of, in India. So in India, RBI is the owner of all of it. RBI का एक छोटा सा product is NPCI, which focuses completely on online transactions. And then we have card schemes and banks, who are major stakeholders when it comes to, of course, cards and bank transactions. So banks are usually something which any private bank, government bank is involved here. Any state bank, any central bank, all of the banks are involved in this bank, and these banks follow everything, anything and everything that is told by the RBI. And then you go to NPCI, UPI and wallets are something which follow all the guidelines by NPCI. Card schemes like MasterCard, Visa, RuPay, all of these follow card schemes, but there's no specific owner like NPCI here. Card schemes are generally defined by RBI, and then those are followed by the specific card holders. So okay, so just let me know if I go very fast here. And this is just a overview of how UPI works. And if you ever want to do some online transaction, I mean, not just transaction on the base of a user. If you want to start up with something as a merchant, you need to understand what type of UPI you want, because UPI has two major parts: UPI intent and UPI collect. Now, if I am a startup and I have a complete online business, and I'm selling something, let's suppose very broadly e-commerce. something e-commerce, and I'm selling a few products, few brands. Now, if I want my user to pay, should I go for UPI intent or UPI collect, right? Understanding the flow is very important. This is something, something that you're able to see here is very complex. If you feel, then I'll just tell you basic difference between UPI intent and UPI collect, which is the next flow. The difference is by the name. UPI intent is where, okay, let's take examples. So if you go on Swiggy or Zomato and you try to pay, you choose whatever you want. You went to the payment page and you try to pay. At that time, there are two behaviors that you would have observed. One is, if once you click on pay, and if your UPI address is already registered with Swiggy or Zomato, it will directly take you to Paytm. Like for example, I've chosen Paytm or Google Pay or whatever it is. It will directly take me to the app from which I want to pay. There is no interaction I did. I clicked on pay and it directly took me to that app. Here, the flow is UPI intent. My intent was to pay. I clicked on pay. I directly went to the payment page of the app I want to pay on. I clicked pay on there, and then I had to switch the tab and come on Zomato or Swiggy again to see if that is successful or not. This is the UPI intent flow. When you say UPI collect flow, it's when you click on pay and then there's an input field shown to you saying enter your VPA or enter your UPI address. VPA is basically your virtual payment address. That is UPI address. If once you click on that and you say save or okay, then your app, for example, again, if I am giving my number at the rate Paytm, then Paytm's notification comes to me saying this thing is requesting this much money, and then when I click on that notification, I go to Paytm. Here, the merchant, I mean my startup, is collecting the UPI address and then sending the request to Paytm, and then Paytm is sending the user a request saying the merchant is asking you to pay. Here, I collected, me as a merchant or me as a startup, collected the UPI address and then passed it on to the correct UPI. In intent, it's directly gone there. Now, when I say you need to understand this is because if you as a startup, if you're directly going to some payment ecosystem, and if you ask them to give you some packages wherein you install these payment systems for your startup, they'll give you randomly something, and if you don't know the exact flow, if you don't know how it works, they may just tell you some amazing features and ask you to pay double for that particular feature when it's not even that used. Like if you say intent and collect, if your startup is amazing and it has grown to that extent where you want to acquire more users and where you want users to stay there for the payment, intent is amazing. Collect is fine because collect may you ask the user to add in the input field every time is trying to do. If it's a recurring user, every time he has to enter his VPA. Whereas in intent, the user doesn't have to enter his VPA, it's directly redirected. So here, if there's no difference in money, I'll say I want both UPI intent and collect for the user to choose what he wants. But if someone is asking intent ke liye, you have to pay 50% more. And it's just telling you random features that you find very amazing. But if you consider a startup which is not yet fully furnished, which is not yet at a point where it can spend money, then at that time collect also works, right? So understanding these flows is very important, that what am I not getting or what am I getting with 50% extra money. Then you will understand what to pick, what not to pick. So players like these are in the market, which may just confuse you, so you pay more for them. And then, when you have 100 pages rules and regulations, you don't really able to go through all of them. You just go through whatever you feel as very important. And in a hurry, we may choose something, and then for our startup, for our new thing, we may just lose track. So that's something you need to understand if you're going into a business startup. UPI Lite again is one more thing that is coming. This is basically in a beta stage right now. sort of in a beta stage. This is currently available only, I think, on Bheem and Paytm, nowhere else. Okay, so have you guys used Paytm wallet or any wallets? What is the
Yes.
difference between wallets and UPI? If anyone would like to share.
Okay. So in the wallet, we upload that and with certain restrictions of amount, and we will utilize it to transfer to friends or transfer it to the QR codes. But in
Correct.
UPI, yes, in UPI, it's each transactions will be going back and front to the bank.
Correct. So yeah, that's what I mean. I think this is what the major difference is. That UPI will directly debit from your bank and credit it to whoever you want. Whereas wallet, may you it's like you already say. I usually what I usually do is in the start of the month I add whatever money I want for the whole month in the wallet and then use wallet transactions every day for small little transactions. So here, UPI Lite is introducing a new feature wherein it is trying to introduce, not yet, at least not yet usable to me as of now. What they're trying to do on Beam is if I maximum amount that you can add is 2000 and maximum amount you can pay anyone at one transaction is 200. But this payment can be done offline. I mean, if I don't have Wi-Fi or internet with me, even then, if I have money in my wallet, I can pay to the merchant after my internet is on, or if I'm connected with Wi-Fi, that actually gets transferred. But it's already debited from my wallet and kept at a particular stage. Like if you see here, this is the payer and this is the payee, right? So from payer, uh, it goes to NPCI. This is the remitter bank. This is my bank, right? My bank, I have already added everything to my wallet. So my bank is not involved in transactions at all. The money is already in my wallet. It goes to NPCI. Two, it goes to pay. Now, in the beneficiary account, when you say 4 and 5, that will be done afterwards when my internet will be on. But here, the response will my response will like the payer's response will go to NPCI. This response will get to the pay. Again, a correct response will go saying, yeah, this can be deducted. This much money is there in the wallet. Yeah, as far as you have. I mean, if I try to deduct 150 and I have only 100, then this three will be failed. But if this three gets passed, then in that case, this 4 and 5 and 6, wherein you actually say my money will go to the user when my internet is on, but I can show him a proof right now saying I've sent you the money, and you cannot cancel this transaction. So here, obviously, there'll be really great edge cases here developed once this is in market with Beam. Uh, right now, Beam works. UPI Lite also works majorly like a Paytm wallet only, but they are trying to get this offline. And since I think 3 4 months at least, they are trying to do this in beta because this has a lot of edge cases, and there are few users who are already doing this and trying to get out the use cases. This offline thing will create a lot of headaches for a lot of people, but at the same time, this will be a really useful feature if it develops with all the use cases considered. So this is something which offline payments is something which can be introduced in next 1 year by government like NPCI. And yeah, like I said, right now the limit is 2000 for the wallet. That is the debit from your bank to the wallet, and 200 for each transaction. So yeah, again, this is something which is very new. If you're going into something which is online purchased or something, then this is something. These are the cases you can consider. I mean, if you can actually consider if you want to allow this or not. Because for an early stage startup, I think UPI Lite is something I will not recommend for my app or web. This is very. I don't know how much time will it actually take to settle down for the settlement to happen from the user. So that is one. This is again the same process of what happened there. And some questions we may have, like who can use UPI Lite? It's Beam app and connected with 8 banks. Right now it's Paytm also. When I created this, it was only VMAP. Do you need to be connected to internet? No. Up to 200 in offline mode is available. Will I be able to see UPI Lite transaction details in the app passbook? No. In the passbook, you will not see any details. It's same as the wallet transactions, right? In the wallet passbook, you will be able to see. But in your passbook, the only one transaction will be your total 2000 debited from your bank. That's the only transaction visible. And will there be charges applicable? No, there won't be any extra charges of applicable. It's same as UPI. So that's one. Uh, then yeah, of course, financial literacy since digital transactions have grown by 88% in last 3 years. If you see different parts of India, how we're growing. This is out of 21. If you like whatever you see, right? 20, 12.6, 12.5. All of these are out of 21, a total out of 21 score. And this score is way better than any other country right now, because globally, if you see, especially in western countries, they have more of card usage. Even children in their area will use credit cards, debit cards, or they may use touch and pay. Like I've seen us may there are people who have their Apple Watch is connected to their Apple Pay, and by touching, it's same as the NFC connection, the Bluetooth or NFC connection, and they pay via their Apple Watch touch with the system that they have at the merchant's place. So they have a lot grown system at card level, but they are still not able to do anything with online. So that's one. So yeah, this is something. Google I/O this time had a lot of amazing features introduced for Google Pay. So just a very brief go through. I won't play the video. I've taken a few snapshots to give you an incidence of what all was discussed in there. There are a few things that Google Pay and Google Wallet also introduced this year. It was integrate Google Pay using your favorite tools with any of the websites or applications you want. And previously, it was restricted to JS. Now a lot of other technologies are also added by Google Pay, and it's using your Android SDK as now, and adding via React Native applications in two simple steps. So you just have to npm install and do the sorry and do the installation of these native React. Then PSP test cards. So there are a few test cards that are introduced right now, wherein if you add any card like Visa, Mastercard, Rupee, any card, that those can be comprehensively flow checks can be done, validation, a better validation and verification process can be done. This again you the and these are lot of these are open source. So if you're trying to add some payment system to your startup, then this is something you can use. These are Google Pay open source APIs which you can just npm install and do a quick check if you want to go ahead with this. Then Google Pay, Google Wallet. Again, Google Pay is itself given a lot of APIs and given a wallet feature as well. If you just want to have a wallet feature, just to have, demos sort of a thing, then you can use that. So you are not actually worried, right? I mean, if you add some like just for demos or just for POCs, if you want to check out something, wallet is best, I think, because directly connecting with UPI is like directly connecting with your banks. Here, if you just have something in your Google Pay wallet and then connect it with your startup ecosystem just to test around, that will be a better use case, I feel. So there's something you can check out. Then yeah, some pass builders are available. So these are specifically for events, like right. So when there are concerts or when there are events like Day Fest, then at that time there are passes. Like if you we usually use, at least at Pune, we usually use Eventbrite or uh, something like these, wherein they give QR code which can be scanned and then people can go inside. That feature is also given here. So if I pay on something, I can just get the attendee details entered here, and then a QR code, a unique QR code for each attendee can be created and given. So this is a very new thing which will actually help in the event or organizing ecosystem. So This is also good, but this is paid, so I'm not sure if these can be used directly. But yeah, you can explore anyway. The documentations, all of these documentations are available on Google. So then, yeah, like I said, identity linked passes can be added, and then each attendee can get a unique pass here. Rotating barcode is such a great security concern thing. I mean, the very basic use case I see here again is the event thing. If I have a QR code, right, I can just take a screenshot and pass it on to someone else, and then two people can go on one QR. It's something we used to think of as a student or as a person who is not the organizer, basically. So rotating barcodes will actually give you a after a particular duration, say 10 seconds, 20 seconds, these QR codes will change, and that the new QR code will only be applicable. So here, if you just take a screenshot and give it to someone else, that won't really work. It's real time changing the QR, and this will help in minimizing the frauds in that in the events ecosystem, conferences, events, all of that. And then these are the two people who we thank so much for the Google I/O updates for us. There was a video created by these two people which is again on Google or YouTube. You can just YouTube it to get all the inferences about these. They've explained all of these. I just put in snapshots of it. So that was one. And then, yeah, I think we're almost at the end. So just to understand a few things of why this session was there and what did we actually conclude on, why should we understand payments, is because 46% of global real-time payments are done by India. And a part of it is all of us, 89.5 billion, we all of our daily transactions are involved. Thanks to all of us for being there. Then there are features for business and common man that are introduced by a lot of public and private players, and these are helping our system basically grow a lot. Digital transactions have grown by 88% in last 3 years, and I think it'll be increasing more because 88% is from previous time. Right now, I think it's increasing in a great way. So then secure transactions with government and private players are introduced. And also a very major thing, Sundar Pichai had announced that he'll be investing some $10 billion in India for digital funds, digitalization funds. So moving India into digital India. And for it, he has said that he'll be investing so much money in India when he met Modi. So I think this is again a great news for all of us to understand that payment ecosystem is going to grow. Because if Sundar Pichai is investing $10 billion, it doesn't mean it's only invested in Google Pay. It's getting invested in digitalization with government. So obviously this will be involving a lot of new digital features coming up, and when you know something such great is already on the way, obviously that ecosystem is going to boom. It's not just about you being inside the ecosystem. I mean, it's not like you have to jump into payment ecosystem and be with some major players in payments. It's also about understanding the flow, small little things. Because if there's so much increase, of course, there's so much growth all of us are seeing in it. So yeah, I think all of us should use all of these things so that we also grow individually with our startups, with our companies, and also I think with our daily routine transactions and understanding fraud, especially because if this much is the growth that we see, frauds will happen a lot. Like UPI, something like UPI Lite, right? There'll be so many frauds if this actually comes into consideration. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to share with all of you. Any questions, anything? You can
Hey,
you
Namrata.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this touch me here. Like, okay, I'm pretty new to this. I mean, new in the sense, yeah, I don't even use a wallet or something.
Okay.
Okay, my concern is that, see, earlier I had a debit card. Okay, so initially we used to use it with our, we go give it and we have the pins. We type out the pins, and
Okay.
somewhere in the middle they introduce this concept of, you don't need pins, and we just have to like they swipe it with the Wi-Fi, and they get the
Correct.
transaction gets made, right? So
Yeah.
these things are like, see, I was not notified about this. Okay, maybe I'm a little averse to digital payments and all that.
Okay.
These kind of things is scary, and do we have certain rules that regulate this, or like how do we go about this? This is kind of a deceptive model in the system, it's like not letting the person know or something. So how do we go about this?
That's so correct. In fact, the example that you gave was so good. The instead of swiping and adding your pin, it will directly just debit all your money, right?
Yeah,
Here, if you lose your card, it's gone.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't really
exactly.
do anything. Yeah. So here, there are. If you ask me about guidelines, there are no guidelines as such for what can be done, but there are guidelines of how much you can pay via this. So as far as I remember, or last I checked, not more than 5,000 transactions can be at a point. Not more than 5,000 k transaction can be done via
Okay,
yeah, without swiping, just tap and pay.
okay,
That's one. Personally, I'd say what I do is I use tap and pay a lot, but what I do is I use Slice. I don't know if you're aware. Slice, then tap and pay is available on any credit cards, any debit cards. So especially my SBI and SDFC credit card, I have the
okay,
app installed with me. It's usually my cards or SBI ka Yono.
okay,
So my cards, every time I do a transaction, at that time I go into the settings. It's just one or two clicks away me. So I
okay,
go to the settings, I put my tap to pay on, I pay, and I at the same point in a minute I keep it closed.
okay.
So the setting
Okay,
is with you. Yeah, nothing is enabled without the user's permission. So when you get the card, the tap and pay is not enabled at all. It's in
okay,
your hands. Yeah, it's completely in your hands, and all of these things are in the settings where you can go and enable. And please do check. Like, yeah, first, this guideline is written in the. I mean, when you get a credit or debit card, there's this what 15-20 pages per book, which we never read, I think, right? So
yeah,
so yeah, correct. So that book actually says all of it, but at least with our concern, I think we should just log in on their app or on their web and check all the settings are closed, at least when you're not using it. Because so if you ask me, Western countries have this trend, right? They always keep their tap and pay on, and we've seen such
okay,
frauds happening कि हमारी जो machine होती है ना, the machine with on which we tap and pay, that
okay,
POC, it's called POC. So the POC machine was just moved around in the metro, and a lot of
okay.
people had their cards in their wallets, and the money was deducted.
Oh, okay,
And you can't really do anything because, I mean, how much can you track, right? Location, this, that. Maybe that person would be identified in some time, but you never know. So just at least my suggestion will be, when you're doing the transaction, keep it on. Other than that, you should keep it off. I mean, let's not be that lazy कि मैं उस time जाके on भी करूँ. So yeah, that is something I would suggest. And yeah, like you said, you're not aware of it. I think you can just follow some government news, I'd say, because recently I have seen NPCI, something like NPCI or so. They also take out such news on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, which
okay.
make us realize. Well, we usually scroll, right? I think all of us, at least for an hour in a day, we scroll. Uh,
Mm-mm.
it be anything. Then let's just try to follow NPC or some good or some validated account, so that when we consume data, let's not consume something which is wrong. There are
Okay.
random fintech and
Mm-mm.
payments ke accounts also who are not validated. So I mean, I usually try to follow NPCI, so that any guideline comes from NPCI, I know what it is. So that's
Okay.
that's what I'll recommend, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Now, from designing, okay, let's talk from, the perspective of designing a product. Like
Okay.
this does have this element of a psychological safety, right? Then
Oh
why do they
yeah.
have it in place? And like, as you said, there's this theft that happened in the metro and all that. Like,
Yeah.
why, what what would have gone into the heads of person who would have designed this? Like, is it the ease? Because when it comes to money, more than ease, it's about the psychological safety, right? Like, I'm just wondering from a designer perspective of why did they choose ease over the psychological safety?
Okay. So I'll tell you this. So like you said, this especially tap and pay started in the Western countries, and
Okay.
Western countries they usually, I mean, like I said, they don't have UPI. So
Mm,
if they have to use anything else, the
mm, mm,
only option for them is card. So they have to give the card. They have to carry that whole cards POC machine, and there are two machines. So when you go to US, if you check, there is one which so for us it's the same POC machine which swipes also and which uses tap and pay also, right? For
mm,
them,
mm,
the
mm.
tap and pay machine is a very small one, which is like a plate. It's like very thin machine which only taps, like just a card ke size ka machine when you just tap
Okay.
and pay. Whereas the
Okay.
POC is a bigger one where we swipe and then type in everything. So there, the merchants have taken up the small machines because of the users, and that has intended the users to use it more. That's one.
Okay.
And because Western countries do not have UPI at all, cards
Okay.
like card innovation is something they are going more into. So, like for example, they are taking like burger or pizza or something like a very small shop for 100 rupees, 200 rupees. They don't want to swipe and then enter pin. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with the thing. When it's money, security is more important than ease. But yeah, I mean that started with Western since they don't have UPI. I think UPI is something I personally love because it has security also, and it's in your phone. You cannot really, miss it somewhere because it's in your phone.
Okay.
So yeah, that's and second, and why India took it because there was a something which is innovated, so they just added it like a feature. I feel it's not like a
Okay.
compulsion. Yeah, I mean, whoever wants to use it can use it. But yeah, this is creating a lot of frauds, if you ask me.
Mm, mm.
इससे ज़्यादा तो I feel the UPI Lite thing will give a lot of frauds. I don't know why that was intended to, thought of offline payments. I mean, if I just do some offline payment and after going I just cancel it out, what will happen?
Okay.
So maybe, I mean, those edge cases are thought of, but yeah, I think people are just trying to innovate something and then remove what is not required. Maybe.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for the question, though. Right? Curious question.
Sid, you have any something?
Yeah, so actually, RBI has certain guidelines for any ballot or like banking system, right? Like they have a very
Yeah.
clearly defined norms and regulations. Even if you
Yes.
recently see, there were like certain ballots, they removed the or revoked the permissions of issuing cards and things, right? So
Yes.
RBI
Yes.
like keeps a tap on all this, and then again. Like there are things right that ease and things has to be like balanced in any product. So yeah, RBI has rules, and if you want to, you can just Google like RBI banking rules, like card rules. They have like even OTP and other things, right? It's part of RBI's mandatory
Yes.
norms for any payment.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah. If you talk about online, if anything and everything that is with RBI or NPCI, they have pretty many guidelines. The only problem occurs with the user's mindset. I mean, if a person has to do fraud, right, he'll take out 10 ways to do it, and there's something that is coming up every day, and like I am in payment ecosystem right now. I know every week we get some guideline from NPCI saying this is updated or RBI, because every week we are getting tons of new use cases, new edge cases that people discover. As a user, it's discovered. So I think that this process will go on because digital payment is moving very rapidly. So I think when something is going very great, people try to make it worse as well. So, yeah, but there are plenty of guidelines for these.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's always there, right? Like whatever system you build, like you cannot build a foolproof system.
Correct, correct. Yeah, after launch you always get some errors there, so that's fine.
So I have
Okay.
one quick question. So as you
Yeah.
are into the fintech world,
Hmm.
so I want to understand one thing. So a lot of peoples are unaware about the cards and even the UPI systems, like
Hmm.
the parents and the people who are aged above 60. A few
Yeah.
peoples, even in
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
So once the car dispute, right? I mean, once the unwanted transactions happens through card and they haven't yet noticed any messages, and after a couple of days they notices and they raise the complaint in the bank. How the dispute works for the cards and how the dispute works for the UPI.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I can just go here just for little explanation since we didn't go through this flow. So what usually happens is when you connect something with UPI, there's there's just one body that controls everything, that is NPCI. So no one else has any other authority. Be it bank, be it your PSP app. PSP is basically your Paytm, Google Pay from where you pay. That is the PSP app, payment service provider. So that's the app. Then NPCI regulates and guides everything. So when you say a fraud happens, and if you don't know what to do, and you understood a lot ahead, uh, there is an email ID of NPCI wherein you can just write an email, or there are calls. I mean, like you said, old people above 60 are not able to maybe write an email. There are call systems on which you can tell all the details, and they take all the details, and then they write an email on your behalf. Even if you say this is the government body, NPCI is way better than any other government body, if you ask me. Because there was a thing that happened with one of my relatives, and it was like a fraud of around 25,000. It was deducted. I mean, it was gone to a different bank altogether, and then they wanted it back. And it was done via UPI. So when you see UPI, your payer details, your pay details are not seen. So here what happens is all the details are only with NPCI. So your app, if you go to Paytm and ask whom have I paid exactly, because to deduct that money, okay. So just to understand, this is Paytm, right? For example, this is my bank. This is again
Okay.
say Google Pay. I'm paying to Google Pay, and this is the bank of the person whom I am paying. This
Okay.
bank and this bank will not have anything, will not have any details. All the details will only be with NPCI. What it does is for regulations and for security purpose, NPCI keeps all of the details to itself. And if you write an email, of course, it's a government body, so it may take time. But at least for me, my reply came in a week, and I got all of the details of this bank. And then when I gave this bank details to my bank, my bank was able to fetch. I mean, obviously, that has again a formality of 1 or 2 days. But after around say 8 to 10 days, the money of my relative was already received back. So obviously now, when I say NPCI, it can give you everything. It may take a week or so, but it gives you all the details. This is in terms of UPI. When you go bank to bank, when it's a card transaction or any say NFT or any EFT or any such bank transfer transaction, there you can directly go to your bank. Your bank has all the details of where the money has gone, and it can retrieve that money. So either you directly reach out to your bank, you email, you call. Usually it's like where you have your account. You already know at least 1 or 2 people in there, so you can just call them around. Or if you write an email, also they'll give you all the details. And maybe you have to visit once if you're nearby and check if they're actually working on it. Because banks, especially when it's central bank or something, you don't know if they'll actually do it in 1 or 2 days. But at least as from my experience, in 2 weeks, these type of issues should get resolved. And RBI is trying to. If it's with NPCI, at least for me, it was like a week, and I went there like a common person. There was no reference. There was no sort of a thing wherein I went through someone. It was a plain email with a normal customer, and I got a reply in a week.
Oh,
So yeah, I think that's pretty much how the ecosystem is right now.
okay.
So
Cool.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Maybe we can just wrap up. Cool. You can maybe reach out to me on my LinkedIn or